Here is something most homeowners do not realize when they start calling cash buyers. Not all of them are actually buying your house. Some of them are wholesalers, and there is a real difference between a wholesaler and a direct buyer that affects your offer, your timeline, and whether the deal actually closes. Today, I'm going to explain exactly how the property father operates differently from a wholesaler, so you can make a more informed decision about who you are actually dealing with. A wholesaler does not buy your home. What they do is put your property under contract at a low price, then assign that contract to a real buyer, an investor who will actually close. They make their money on the spread, which is the difference between what they contracted with you and what the end buyer pays. Some wholesalers are transparent about this. Many are not. The problem for you as the seller is that your deal depends on the wholesaler finding a buyer, not on them. And if they cannot find one, the deal falls apart, sometimes at the last minute. A direct buyer, like the property father, actually purchases your home with their own capital. When we make you an offer and you accept it, we are the buyer. There is no middle person, no assignment, no dependency on finding someone else to close the deal. The offer is real because we are the ones funding it. This distinction affects the offer you receive. Wholesalers have to build their assignment fee into the equation, meaning their offer to you needs to be low enough that they can still sell it to an investor at a profit. A direct buyer makes an offer based purely on what the property is worth to them, with no spread built in for a third party. In practical terms, a direct buyer will often make you a higher offer because there is one fewer person taking a cut. Timeline is another major difference. When a direct buyer commits to closing in 14 days, that date is real because they have the capital ready. A wholesaler who says they can close in 2 weeks is assuming they will have a buyer lined up by then. If the buyer falls through, the close date changes. We have spoken to sellers who had deals fall apart multiple times before they found a buyer who could actually perform. The property father is transparent about everything. We tell you how we calculate offers. We explain our process. We do not pressure you to sign anything before you have had time to think. We do not charge fees, and if we cannot make a deal work, we tell you that directly, rather than tying up your property in a contract while we search for an exit. How do you know if you are talking to a wholesaler versus a direct buyer? A few signals. If they are vague about who will actually be at the closing table, that is a sign. If the offer comes with a long inspection contingency period that seems unnecessary for an as-is deal, they are buying time to find a buyer. If the company name is generic and there is no real website or reviews, that is a red flag. And if they ask you to sign an assignment of contract rather than a purchase and sale agreement, you are dealing with a wholesaler. Wholesaling is legal in New York when done properly. The problem is not that wholesalers exist. The problem is when they are not transparent about it. A seller who understands the process and agrees to it can work with a wholesaler. The issue is sellers who believe they are selling directly to the buyer, only to find out later that the person they contracted with was never planning to purchase the home. That is where the trust breaks down. We built the property father as a direct buying operation because we believe sellers deserve transparency and certainty. Steve Santiago, our founder, is a Long Island homeowner himself. He understands what it means to make one of the biggest financial decisions of your life and need to trust the person on the other side of the table. That is why we show our work, honor our offers, and close when we say we will. If you have been shopping around and gotten wildly different offers from different buyers, there is likely a reason. Some of them were wholesalers. If you want to know what a direct cash offer looks like for your Long Island home, reach out to the property father. No middleman, no assignment fees, no surprises at the closing table. The link is in the description below.